In this country, the story of an amazing flight to freedom and a promise kept. Correspondent Mark Phillips tells us about the Cuban defector who went back to Cuba to rescue the loved ones he left behind.
Surrounded by his family in Washington today, Orestes Lorenzo detailed an escape from Cuba that would be dismissed as outrageous if it were written in a spy thriller. But when the former Cuban fighter pilot defected to Florida in his MiG-23 almost 2 years ago, he made a promise that would do credit to romantic fiction.
I will be back for you. I don't know how, in a plane, in a boat, swimming, I don't know, but I will be back for you.
It turned out to be in a plane, an old twin Cessna bought by a charitable supporter for $30,000. Lorenzo's wife Victoria and their 2 sons, 11-year-old Reniel and 6-year-old Alejandro, waited in Havana for permission to leave Cuba legally, but it never came. So word was sent that husband and father Orestes was coming to get them. Lorenzo took off from Marathon in the Florida Keys late Saturday afternoon for the 90-mile flight to Cuba's north coast. He says he flew barely 10 feet above the wave tops to avoid Cuban radar. He arrived as planned at a stretch of coastal highway where, according to plan, his family was waiting. Also waiting, however, was highway traffic and a large rock in the middle of the road.
Cuba is an incredible country. The only country in the world where you can find a big rock in the middle of the road is Cuba. Unbelievable.
He landed in front of an oncoming truck, the plane and the driver stopping just 10 yards apart, close enough for Lorenzo to see the driver's astonished face. Lorenzo swung the plane around, the family hopped on board, and after less than a minute on the ground, they were off.
I cannot describe that moment when the first one children, he didn't know anything about this, saw me and said, "Daddy."
Lorenzo called this escape a fight of love and truth against evil and lies. But while this family won, others have not.
And think about children who are in Cuba, maybe in other countries too. Nobody has the right to separate families. Nobody has the power to do that.
Nobody, it seems, had the power, not even Fidel, to keep this resourceful father and his family apart. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Washington.